Hi there, and welcome back to History of Fleetwood Mac Singles. I'm Anita. Today we're going to get into the second part of Rock a Little, Stevie Nicks' third solo record. And last video was the first stack of the first single from that album, Talk to Me. And today I'm going to be going over the singles for I Can't Wait. I Can't Wait was a single in December of 1985, so 1 month after the album came out, but 2 months after the first single, Talk to Me, had been released. I, in my opinion, feel that I Can't Wait was the bigger single of the two. I'm certainly sure that it charted better than Talk to Me. I'm not sure, but I think I'm right. And probably the likelihood of that is because it charted not only on radios, but also it was a big dance single with plenty of mixes. Came out as a 12-inch maxi single, which was kind of starting to be a big thing. And it had like a dub mix, a rock mix, a soft intro mix, all sorts of stuff. The video is a little bit more harder edge, a little bit more Gold Dust Woman, kind of a little bit more of a throwback, a little bit more towards Stand Back, I would say, than Talk to Me, which what I would say leans a little bit more towards Gypsy, just a little bit of a softer edge. So personally, I feel that I Can't Wait was the bigger single. But going forward, the first thing I want to mention is when I talked about Talk to Me, I brought up the single that was from the EEC. And in America, the first single that I have to show you would normally be just this, like it is. It would be the promo version of I Can't Wait, back with I Can't Wait. It would be the plain, real pale label, just like the Talk to Me one was. But the way I received this one or purchased it many years ago was in this cover, which was very unusual to get any kind of picture, even though it's not a photo, but something that's not just a plain paper sleeve. And I thought it was very strange that it was a polar opposite, or negative opposite, I should say, of this one from the EEC. I thought it was very interesting. Not quite everything's the same, but it's extremely similar. I mean, as evidenced. But what was even more interesting about that is that several years later, I was at a store in San Francisco, and there's about 5 of these in a bin. And because I'm the person that I am, I looked very carefully at every one because I'm always looking for any little variants. And to my surprise, the one that I picked up then looks just the same, but inside it had this little piece of paper. And inside that paper says that due to an error in the printing of the labels, the first copy of the single that you received had the intros reversed. This corrected copy is printed the way it was always meant to be. And the first one that I have in the pale label, and I don't know if it's the first one, it's the first one I have. And it's the one that I would think is first because it's what looks normally like the promo copies that come out and the precursors to the picture sleeves that you would find at Tower Records or wherever. There's no side A or side B on it, but one side says 4 minutes and 14 seconds vocal soft intro, and the other side says vocal rock intro 401. Okay, and this is saying in the second record that I found that it's reversed. The rock intro should be at 414, not the soft intro, and vice versa. The soft intro should be at 401, not at 414. With that in mind, and with this inserted in this record inside the sleeve, the record that came with it looks entirely different than the first one. You see it's darker still. It's white and black. It's not faded out. However, there's still not a side A or side B, but one side still shows the same information that's on this one. So clearly a change was made to the label, but it still looks like it's incorrect. And I went through all of them, and every record was the same. So I'm not really sure if there's another record that's out there that would show that the vocal rock intro is at 4:14, like this says, and the soft intro is at, well, anyway, the right way. Sorry, I'm confusing myself. But if that makes any sense to you. So it's two completely different records, two labels. So this obviously got sent out secondly with this inside, but it still looks to me like it's not corrected, which I've always found very interesting. And it was the only one in that bin, 5, that had this insert in it. I kind of wish I'd bought all of them because I'm that way. But I think it's really interesting. And so if you come across these, not that you probably would or care, but refer back to this or let me know. Drop me a line if you ever see these or if you have one. And let me know, actually, if you have one of these, because some of you who collect records might, let me know if your record says that it's this way. Because all the records that I have are opposite. So I just thought that was kind of interesting and weird. And weird that they did another run, and yet, if I'm reading it correctly, it made the same screw up on the second run. So those were just kind of really probably the most interesting records as far as two label differences and a little insert saying we made a boo-boo, but it still looks like the boo-boo's made on there. So anyway, correctly, we get our first US single release, and this was very popular 45. I know a lot of people who had this 45, not just for liking the song, but loving the picture. And if you recall one of my current pop-up videos with my scrapbooking, I had done a scrapbook collage of the sheet music for this with some pictures, some outtakes from this session. This is during the filming of the video. And remember, the photographer is something Dietz or Diltz, I think is the name. Whereas the back photography is by Herbert Worthington. Cover photography, can't forget Tony McGee. Can't believe I made that error. This is just a really rich 45. It's really nice. It's unusual to see a 45 with a nice picture cover and a nice back picture cover. Usually it's just a photo and then words, it's about the album coming out, but this just looked really nice. And it was especially nice when we got the 12-inch version. There was a dance single with, again, many versions of it. And when that came out, it was just super popular. So, and funny enough, all the versions of I Can't Wait that I have on 45 don't say soft intro, rock intro, but they are all the 4-minute and 1-second versions, which by this piece of paper should be the soft intro. So take that for what it's worth. So American version. Later on, probably, again, these don't have a side A or B, but I have it with I Can't Wait. Again, probably those, kind of like some of those Fleetwood Mac ones I've talked about in the past, where after the songs became real popular, just before it kind of petered out to just get the tail end of sales for that album, I think that these people released singles with both, double A sides, if you will, because this has I Can't Wait on one side and Talk to Me on the other, just to kind of get people to buy the 2-for-1, have both songs, and still make a little money to give the album its final little push at the end. So, and this is a United States one. Then we have Canada. Canada is I Can't Wait with the Nightmare. And let's just see. I think I'm right, but let's just see if I am. Interestingly enough, this one is 4 minutes and 4 seconds. So 3-second difference from Canada. There are many, many versions of I Can't Wait out there. I have some friends who would definitely be more, have more authority and knowledge than I do. I keep track of things, but in a funny way. Like, I keep track more through records than the knowledge of exactly what everything is on there. And knowing that, yes, there's a 401, a 404, a 414. When I talk about them, I'm re-aware and such, but I don't have like a journal or something like that with that all written down. Maybe I'll do later tonight. I don't know. But yeah, so that's interesting. So the Canadian version, and this is promo, and it's, again, I Can't Wait. It doesn't say dub, it doesn't say soft intro, rock intro, just 4 minutes and 4 seconds with the back B-side as a promo, The Nightmare, instead of both sides, I Can't Wait. This one out of Guatemala, I Can't Wait, with nothing on the back. So we have the standard, you've seen a couple of these in the past, Discoteca or something like that. Guatemala down here. And I Can't Wait. And I think somebody told me this side intentionally blank or something along those words. So kind of neat. And this is a promotional out of Guatemala. So that's kind of cool. There's no time given on this one. So that would be, see, it'd be interesting to play this one and see. I should do that. I'll do that. See how many minutes and seconds. Canada, again, Canada has another sleeve where she's too big to go in. She has to go in sideways instead of this way. A much thicker paper, and it's just larger by just like a little bit. But Canadian picture cover, picture sleeve, just like the American one. And this one has I Can't Wait, again at the 4:04. 4 minutes and 4 seconds. Back with The Nightmare. I Can't Wait UK. Then we get back into singles that look like the Talk to Me singles, where we use the cover art for the single. Most all of these that I have that use the blue on blue like the Japan single had done, instead of that hot blue and pink, that kind of almost kind of blinding thing. This one as well, no picture on the back, but a lot more credit. And I like all that shawl, scarf kind of look to it. This one also is back with Rock a Little instead of The Nightmare. And this one does not have a runtime. Looks like I'll be playing some records tonight. Just to see. Now I'm kind of curious. Same thing, I Can't Wait from Holland. This one, though, is kind of, again, unusual. They chose the blue and blue. But, interestingly enough, they chose blue on the back for all the writing. So, slight difference. Slight layout difference from the UK to Holland. And this one is I Can't Wait, no time on this, backed with Rock a Little. Australia, no picture sleeve. I Can't Wait, no runtime, Rock a Little, B-side. South Africa, I think we get another strange, yes, one of those other ones again with South Africa, where the sleeve comes like this instead of a, like an envelope. But the label is very similar to the ones I've had from South Africa. So like I said, I think these ones are are definitely legit. And I've had them for a long time. These aren't, well, longish, longer than people, since I've seen the rush of bootleg type stuff coming out. I think I actually have two of those, two of the same. I Can't Wait from Spain, same picture. A little bit kind of muddier. I don't know if that's on purpose. This looks kind of phased out or textured, a little bit, very textured paper. Could just be why. It could be the ink just kind of spread out on the paper a little bit. Back to the white writing instead of the blue. And it was Rock a Little, back with Rock a Little. And this one does have a time. Sorry about that. And this one says 4 minutes and 27 seconds. It does not say a certain mix. It just says I Can't Wait at 4 minutes and 27 seconds, backed with Rock a Little. So, lots of variances, like I said. And we haven't even gotten into the 12-inch. When you get into the 12-inch, every single one of them has a different time. So it's just really interesting, all the differences for the single. Like I said, I think, and again, it's because it was a dance single. So it, you know, in clubs, it's something that got a lot of airplay in clubs. So, and then the last ones, who loves these and who do they love? Japan. This one has seen better days. It kind of came like that, which is unfortunate. It's also really weird because sometimes it's stickers, but this is printed into the photo. And I had never seen that before. Actually, I have. And what it usually means is it was like a library issue. But it's usually a sticker. So I don't know. It would be irony that both copies that I have would be library issue ones, and that there could possibly be Japanese copies that just don't have this. It's regular, but I don't think so. I think they're all like this. So this is a Japan copy. There's no photo on the back other than the picture cover. This one is the promo, so it's the white label one. And these as well do not have a runtime. So that is the Japan promo. And last but not least, the Japan regular version. Much better shape. Really lovely. But still the barcode, which is kind of weird. Never noticed this before. I wonder what I had it against. That's unfortunate. Yeah. So yeah, that was just kind of interesting, the differences and the aired one. And yeah, I'm really curious if any of you have that 45. Let me know what yours says. If you have a copy that shows the soft intro and the rock intro. And I'll put it down in the comments too, what it says it's supposed to be. Because I think it's really interesting that it looks like they sent a correct version, but it's not correct. It looks like it's the same mistake the first one was. So yeah, this video is pretty short, but I don't want to make it much longer because there's good information to be had in these ones. So it'll just be another short video. But I'll be back soon with the remainder of the 2 singles remaining from Rock a Little. And those are Has Anyone Ever Written Anything for You with Imperial Hotel. And a couple little strays that were at the end of 85 and 86. So thank you again for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments, please, if you have any of the I Can't Wait singles and what your runtimes are, or if you have anything from a different country. Because if you go to Discogs, you'll notice there's probably about 50 entries for 7-inch I Can't Wait. There's probably about 80 or so, maybe, entries for I Can't Wait as a single alone. So maybe not all those are the 7 and 12-inch. There's the CD single version, cassette single version, all sorts of stuff. So anyway, thanks again for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye.